Hello. First, an acknowledgement of the situation in the world today. I am of Ukrainian and Polish heritage, and it devastates me to see the destruction of one of my ancestral homes, and for no reason except one tyrant's ego. History will remember you, Mr. Putin, just as they remember all the criminals of days gone by. Congratulations on your legacy. If you are in Canada, consider making a donation to the UN High Commission for Refugees or some other charitable agency. Thank you. Glory to Ukraine. One of the questions I'm asked most often by those just starting out in photography is about editing software. Some folks simply offload from phone or camera and leave it at that. They might not even back up their photographs, but that's a subject for another day. Eventually, those who continue to develop, pardon the pun, their photography reach a point where they want to start to influence the look of their photographs directly. Many discover the built-in profiles and the tools that are part of camera menus, but that invariably result in a photo saved in JPEG mode, which might or might not be what they want to do. So, they've decided instead to download the photographs, store them on a computer, and then what? A computer search for the most common photo editing software or the easiest to use photo editing software leaves them stumped as to how to proceed. There are so many choices out there, from full-featured, long-standing products like Adobe's Lightroom and Photoshop, or Phase One's Capture One, or others like On One, or AC/DC, or Topaz Studio. And then there's a whole new class of editors driven by templates and artificial intelligence, such as Luminar AI and Luminar Neo. And lastly, another whole class of editors are labeled as plugins to the Adobe products and work side by side with them. So how does a person decide? There are lots of factors to consider when selecting an editing tool, and of course price comes into play. Is it one time for life? One time for a specific period of time? Or an ongoing subscription? Some people object to a one-time high price. Some people object to an ongoing smaller monthly fee. And if you pay one time, will you have to pay again for any future major release when new capabilities come along? You know what? That's a personal decision. Personally, I'm okay with a monthly fee. Once price is out of the way, it becomes a question of how much you want the software to do for you. Some of these offerings are soup to nuts. You can import and organize your photographs. You can assign keywords or other tags to help you find them easily. You can edit the photographs. You can export them. You can print them. And you can ultimately store them in a catalog that allows you to reopen and continue working on any photograph at any time without any loss of any adjustments that you've made previously. Other software takes a segment of this soup to nuts offering and specializes. Some are just for sorting and organizing. Some are for quick adjustments like brightening the whole image or bringing out more contrast in the whole image. And still others let you fine-tune every area of the photograph separately, even down to the individual pixel level. So for the senior photographer like me, who's not worked with editing software before, we have one other consideration, and that's that anything complex can become quickly overwhelming. Remember, we come from a generation where personal computers didn't even exist until we were teenagers. So my recommendation would be a simple one. Find a single tool that organizes, helps you manage your photographs, and provides the capability of editing at the whole image level. Start there. And even better, find a tool that prompts you with samples and templates to try and takes you through a logical order of operations. Only once you are comfortable with that, consider adding a tool that allows you to do more finely detailed edits. Luckily, there is one tool that I have found that follows this pattern of prompts and templates very nicely. It's called Luminar, and before you ask, no, they're not sponsoring this video, and they're not even aware of this video or of me. I'm a user who has fully paid for their software, just like everyone else. So why is it different? Well, you have the option to import all of your photographs or to work on just one. You can use the software in standalone mode or have it be a plugin, meaning a companion to Adobe software or the native picture software on your Mac or PC. But most importantly, when starting your edit, you're guided with suggestions, including templates that are recommended by their artificial intelligence engine based on the elements that it sees in your photograph. The software is smart enough to analyze what's in your image and to make recommendations to you. That is so cool in my view. Despite this AI-driven arrangement, you also have the option to adjust each element of the photograph separately, things like exposure and contrast. This provides the ultimate flexibility for you as you get better at editing decisions and continues to provide full-blown guidance until you get to that point. So what I'd like to do now is show you some of my work, first edited with the basic edits in Lightroom and then the template-driven edits in Luminar. You'll also see the original RAW file. This isn't about walking you through an editing process. It's about showing you how much further you can go with the aid of a template-driven tool. For each of the following photographs, you'll see a RAW image, a Lightroom basic edit, and a Luminar template-driven edit. By the way, if you like what you see next, this is the point where I ask you to please consider subscribing to my channel to get more content similar to what you're about to see. Alright, the first image, Silver Falls near Wawa, Ontario. At some distance away from me, the brightness of the water was accompanied by the deep color of the surrounding landscape. Out of camera, the exposure wasn't balanced. Lightroom quickly corrected for that, but the image lacked punch. A quick flip into Luminar, some prompts from their landscape tools, and here is the finished image. I quite like it. This next location is quite close to me on Lake Ontario. I was actually looking for interesting storm clouds that day to photograph, but saw this dad and his sons sharing a family moment on the dock. Out of camera, the colors were distracting. They took away from the moment that I saw in front of me. Lightroom helped mute those tones, but the finished image says it all. Luminar helped me isolate the key message. Father and sons. The heart of the photograph. Next up is back up to Lake Superior for this next image. Early morning sunrise, 1 October, the perfect display for a sun star. The original image was far too dark. Lightroom blended the balance of the tones very well, but the final pop came from Luminar. You don't see much difference between the two here, but it's definitely enough to be noticeable. Okay, I might get a few comments on these next two. Luminar offers the ability to replace skies with one click. You can substitute your own skies or use their included skies. This waterfall needed some mood, and Luminar added both pop and an eerie darkness to the day. But if you are a purist, you won't go here. I don't have a problem switching out a sky if the sky could very well have been there on a different day, and that is the case here. Similarly, another situation, drab blank sky amid so much color. Some of you might take issue with how far I push this color. Let me know what you think. But at the end of the day, it was about the juxtaposition here. This image tells a really cool story, and an even better one with matching yellow between field and car and opposing blues in the sky. Lastly, to close us off, a lovely peony. I had the idea of a black and white version as soon as I saw this lovely bloom, but the surround was just too messy. A square crop and darkening of the foliage helped and looks very good to me, but I wanted to highlight the texture and downplay the color, and Luminar was able to bring it home. Yes, indeed, you can do black and white conversions in Lightroom and Photoshop, but moving individual sliders doesn't often work for me. Some artists can visualize the end result at the start of their process and take that journey all the way. I can't. I need a different approach that is destination-based, and I work backwards from there. All right then. I hope you enjoyed that. I think in summary, the main difference between Lightroom and Luminar is that Lightroom provides a detailed set of tools that you yourself have to mix and match to achieve the result that you want. Luminar instead concentrates on the results and puts examples of those results in front of you to guide your decisions. You can then tweak as much or as little as you want using the actual tools that contributed to those results. Absolutely, you can achieve the same results through Lightroom and Photoshop, but this template, results-driven method works best for me, frankly. Thank you for your attention. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a like and consider subscribing to my channel for more content to come. And please leave me a comment to let me know if you like this type of content and if you would like more of it. I would really appreciate hearing from you. See you soon.